Jenny Laughlin here from Waxwing Sewing Studio. In this video, we're going to walk you through how to prep, iron, and lay out the beautiful linen that came in your kit so it has a nice straight grain line for cutting your project. So you might be wondering, what is a grain line and why is it so important for my project? The grain line is represented by the threads that are parallel to your selvage. Your selvage is right here. It runs the length of your fabric and has this little edge that's finished like this. Our goal when preparing the fabric for cutting is always to try to coax all these vertical threads so they are nice and straight, or as straight as they want to be, because linen is a little bit wibbly wobbly and you don't want to over straighten. But you do want to straighten as much as it will let you, because this way the fabric behaves predictably when draped over your body. So carefully following the grain line when cutting and respecting it while sewing is going to really help your garment look just next level and fantastic. I wanted to show you the Carolyn pajamas here, because when we look close, you can see that the nice drape comes from a really nice straight grain line. What this does is it gives the garment visual consistency, and when you cut on the grain line, it enables the fit ultimately to be as the pattern maker intended. So super important to get the kind of predictable result that you're looking for with your pattern. So let's see how we iron our fabric in order to prepare our fabric for cutting on a nice straight grain line. So when you get the linen in your kit, you'll see your selvage right here, and you'll also see a nice straight cross grain. You need both this straight selvage and a nice straight cross grain when laying out your fabric. So that's because then you'll have both a vertical reference line and a horizontal reference line when you go to lay out, and that will make it easier to make sure that your grain line is the same either side of the fold. So at Waxwing, we always send you a fabric cut on a straight cross grain, but if you pre-washed it and it got balled up in the laundry, or for whatever reason looks like a fresh line would be beneficial. So like this one's washed, for example, and the line still looks, pretty good. But if you want to just make sure it's super, super clean, there's a neat trick that I can show you that will help you establish the cross grain. You can use this for any kind of linen. So here's how you do it. So the first thing is, with your scissors, find a nice visible cross grain, so perpendicular to the selvage. Make sure that if you follow that cross grain all the way across your fabric, that there's not going to be like a divot in the fabric and you won't make it all the way across. So find that nice straight grain, and then go ahead and snip parallel to that nice thread that you found that's visible, about 3 inches, just to kind of get it going. So once you have your snip, carefully pull the thread away from the cut line right there. And we're going to be using this thread in order to guide us across the width of the fabric and give us a cut line. So get a good grip on your guide thread and then start to gently pull, create some gathers, and pull them through. Once the thread starts to provide some resistance, that's when you know you want to pull through those gathers so you don't break your thread. If you do break your thread, it's no big deal. You just grab another thread from your cut line and keep going. It's no problem. But what you can see as I do this is it's creating this, really little visual flaw in the thread, and that's our cut line, so we'll be able to use it to go nice and straight. So I can start cutting now to show you. I usually hold on to my thread guide, and then I have this nice line now that I can use in order to cut all the way across. And then, once you run out of line, you can pull your guide thread. If you lose it, just grab it from further up. And you can just keep on going. And you go all the way across the fabric. So that is a trick to reestablish your cross grain if you ever need to. So there's that. So now I'm just going to come back to this one that's ready to go. We have a clear cross grain and we've got a straight selvage for reference. And we're going to lay these out on our ironing board nice and straight. So I'm going to check the heat setting on my iron before I get started. You'll want to use a medium-high heat setting. Often at home irons, the iron will suggest you use like the really high setting for linen. I think that they're thinking of linen that's less delicate than our dress weight fabric. Maybe they're thinking of tablecloths, something like that. But if you press our dress weight linen with this glowy, beautiful sheen to it on a very high setting, then you'll likely get a shine on your cloth that you don't want. So make sure, first time you're, ironing linen, put on some steam, test it on the corner. Make sure you don't have any new shine showing up. And we don't, no iron shininess, so we are good. So make sure, so to coax the vertical thread straight, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're ironing mostly vertically. So you got lots and lots of steam. This lightweight linen, the vertical lines will go pretty straight, but if you don't ever want to start pulling on it or going like this back and forth, you can do a little bit of gentle horizontal, but you kind of want to let it kind of fall into where it wants to be. And after you finish a section, you're going to move it up to the next section. Make sure you still have a really nice straight parallel selvage. Get everything all nicely lined up. And then you can continue with your ironing. So unless you have like a super long iron, this has a lot of width to it. So once you get through to the end of this side, then you'll want to just, flip your fabric over so you can get the other half of your linen. And that's how you're going to get the really nice straight grain line that's going to really set you up for success when you lay out your pattern pieces. So let's go over to the cutting board and look at laying out our pattern pieces.